got an old SV650. As you can see, I say old, it's a 2013 model. I bought it new in 2013 for 4,600 on the road. I've also got the new one. It's a long-term test bike from Suzuki. It's actually, it's not a new SV, it's called an SV, but it's an updated Gladius, cheekily. And it replaces the old SV in the lineup. You can still buy the old SV, but only while stocks last. Now, the first thing you'll notice about these two bikes is the old one is more motorbike. It's got this big fairing. Is it fair to compare an unfaired and faired bike and criticise the unfaired one for being naked? Well, I think if one is replacing the other, then yes, it probably is. And the thing about SVs, I think people buy them. The reason I bought one is because I wanted the most bike I could possibly get on my meagre £5,000 budget, and for a long time they've been the most bike you could get for about for that price, for under £5 for the old one. The more your bike does, the better, and that's what the fairing does for the old one. It means you can do so much more with the bike. You could tour on it, you could long distance commute on it, zip up to Scotland on it. This one's more comfortable. It's got an upright riding, the new one's more comfortable. It's got an upright riding position. The old one is surprisingly sporty, actually, the riding position. But what I find is that I kind of get used to a sporty riding position personally. I forget about it. Whereas I'm not quite sure I can do the same with wind blast at 80 miles an hour. The old one, oh, has he seen me? It's hardly with any space for this, is there? Holy moly. Although the new one has more comfortable riding position, this one has a more comfortable seat. It's no sofa on this one, but this bike, this new SV, has one of the most uncomfortable seats I've ever known on a motorcycle. It's just too thinly padded, and it slopes downward towards the tank. I'm ready to get off it after an hour, whereas as I say, the old one's not exactly plush, but I'm perfectly happy on it for 2 hours. The brakes, well, the brakes, they haven't really changed since, you know, the last major update this SV got, which was in 2003, I guess, when the fuel injected one was introduced. If anything, you know, as I say, this has got ABS, the old one hasn't, but if anything, I think the brakes on this are worse than the old SV. I'm on the second set of pads on my old SV, which might have improved things slightly. This one, I mean, it'll stop you obviously, but you just have to grab it really firmly, and it does occasionally give you slight cause for concern if you're not expecting to have to put it that firmly. The new one has better suspension. The suspension on the old SV is soft. The forks can bottom out without trying too hard. You lose preload adjustable forks. The old one has preload adjustable forks, non-adjustable forks on the new one. I'd probably make that sacrifice really, because it's just a better setup. The old one is quite soft. You know, the forks are running out of road. Wonder where that goes to. The suspension on the old one is quite soft. The forks can bottom out without trying too hard. This one is just a bit firmer, a bit sportier, a bit more suited to the bike's ambitions. Surprisingly good actually at this price point. So I'm still kind of thinking on balance, if I was buying one now, one of these SVs, I might get the old one while it's still in the range and save a bit of money. It's $4,999 compared to $5,599 for the new one. You don't get ABS with the old one, but then I find myself riding this and thinking, wait a minute, I'm having more fun on this one, aren't I, on the new one. The important thing is, it makes more power. It's got 75 horsepower to the old one's 71, but crucially, it's got stronger mid-range as well. It's got more everywhere. And you know, the wide bars and the kind of upright riding position make it seem a bit more flickable. It feels very small. You can just find yourself in a kind of in a zone, just really enjoying it and like forgetting about all that and thinking, actually, hang on, this one's more fun. I mean, this is no, you know, it's not exactly lumbering, but it's more. I guess that you've got more kind of sports bike stability on this, whereas the new one feels more nimble. It's just a bit punchier, and I find myself riding it and thinking, like, well, yeah, I'm having more fun, aren't I? And that's what motorcycling is about. It's not about all-rounders, versatility, practicality. So it's a difficult one to call. You get a bit more equipment on the new one. You get things like gear indicator, fuel gauge, low fuel consumption meter, average fuel consumption meter. On this one, you don't even get a fuel gauge. You just get a low fuel warning light. You do get the nice round rev counter, which I quite like. You just got a digital dash on the new one, and actually I'm not really sure how bothered I am about stuff like gear indicators and even a fuel gauge really. Fuel light was always good enough when I started motorcycling. It's really difficult to call them at the moment. The old one's slightly cheaper, $4,999. This is $5,999, but you get ABS. But at the moment, I've got them both. I've got this. Obviously, I've got the old one permanently. This one I've got for a few months. So over that time, hopefully, I'll reach a verdict on which is best. For now, I think it's a dead heat. The jury's out, and that's it for now.